Hello, welcome back to the Coleman channel and welcome back to yet another installment of Behind the Process. We talk about the creative process, the behind the scenes, the making of things. And in today's video, as you may have seen from the title and the thumbnail, I wanted to do a little bit of a part 2 on an episode of Behind the Process we've done already. We're going to be talking about a couple more things, bits of content that were made, conceptualized, created over on my old defunct YouTube channel known as Soop Groop. You can get a bit more context on what Soop Groop is on the first video. I recommend that you check that out. It's pretty cool. And yeah, just layman's terms, Soop Groop, YouTube channel I used to be part of back in the day, started in 2019. A couple of my friends disbanded in 2021. And yeah, that's basically all you need to really know about it. And basically I just want to talk about a few more videos that I remember being a big part of in the creative process and making it and all that kind of stuff. I want to talk a bit more about formatted videos, the kind of thing like that, not like skits that I made in the channel, kind of more like formatted content kind of thing where it's not about enacting some fucking insane thing. I don't know any other words to use to describe it they made over on the channel, but more like, yeah, once again, formatted things, series that we did over on the channel, because there was a few that we managed to eke out as the years went on, and I wanted to talk about them today because it's a nice little nostalgia trip for me and a bit of a reflection on my come up in terms of like making content, and primarily also for me learning editing as well on Adobe Premiere, because I had no prior. The only reason I learned Adobe Premiere Pro was for Soop Groop. That's literally the only reason why. I had no prior experience before that and never touched an editing software apart from fucking iMovie on an iPad when I was making my old videos on this channel. But yeah, I learned Premiere for that YouTube channel Soop Groop. I basically learned like a lot of the things in terms of like making content, like using OBS, which I'm using right now to record this video, and a lot of the equipment I own now as well, like this webcam that I'm talking to you through right now and all that kind of stuff, and the PC as well. All this kind of stuff was put together in the name of content for Soop Groop, which is pretty crazy, I think, actually. But yes, anyway, without any more babbling, let's talk about some of the things that we made over there. So the first series I want to talk about that we did over at Soop Groop, the first formatted kind of thing that we did, was a series called X Shouldn't Be. In retrospect, I think that's a little bit of a mental name. It was kind of a name that we threw around for a while when we were wanting to like move on from like Let's Plays and stuff like that. We were making Let's Plays for a long time to kind of like make a backlog of content. I touched on this in the first Soop Groop video. The kind of idea was like to make content consistent. Let's Plays like the easiest thing to make because they don't require a lot of editing unless you want to do like a bit of a funny edit here and there depending on what's being talked about, and that kind of thing. So yeah, they're easy to throw out basically. A lot of like big YouTube channels that do content like Soop Groop did that kind of thing, because you know the YouTube algorithm not specializes in it, it prioritizes channels that pump out content all the time, which is not a good thing, because it's just mental. Back in the day, it used to be about like video length and viewership. It still kind of is about viewer length, but viewership basically means like fuck all now, as if you're getting monetized, which we certainly weren't, but we were trying to like adapt something just to aid with the process of making videos and stuff. But constant content output was a big thing, and it is a big thing on YouTube still. So we were basically making a lot of like Let's Plays and stuff, but the point is we wanted to break off of that at some point, and we wanted to do series and stuff, kind of more like people-centric kind of thing, where we're just making our own kind of content. And X Shouldn't Be was one of the big ideas we had for a very, very long time, and we managed to execute it and it's some of my favourite things we did on the channel. I think it's still funny. I do think it had some genuinely hilarious moments in it. That's one of the things I would say, like, watch that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm very proud of what we did over at X Shouldn't Be. But then, yeah, like I was saying, the name is mental. And I guess it would have been what you call a bit of a, I don't know what you would call it, a placeholder name, I suppose. It was based on a whole joke, inside joke that we used to say all the time about how something shouldn't be. If something was like cursed, freakish, evil, ominous, kind of things like that, we basically say that that should not be, it shouldn't exist. And we're like, what if we did like a series where we're like examining, looking at things on the internet that should not be, and hence the name X Shouldn't Be. The X is supposed to be like the placeholder for this thing, and it would get swapped out with every episode that came out. I think when the series was going on and we were wanting to do more, I think we were going to change the name to just like maybe Shouldn't Be or Should Not Exist. I think was an idea we came up with as well, but in the end, alas, obviously the channel kind of fell apart and we didn't get to make more. But we did make two. We made 2 installments of X Shouldn't Be. And like I said, the general idea of the series was looking at things online that are cursed and shouldn't be. And primarily the kind of thing that we'd look at was Reddit, which I think is a bit of a thing that a lot of YouTube channels did, but are probably still are doing, where they would like navigate subreddits and read things and make funnies out of it. I think a big one that I liked back in the day, I don't know if they make content still, but it was a channel called Soot House. We didn't talk about Soot House in terms of inspiration or like that, but it was definitely that kind of content that was being made over at Soot House, where it was like a bunch of people would just like read subreddits and make fun of them, basically. But we kind of expanded upon that a little bit. We had like the face cam, I was introducing what we were talking about and that kind of thing, so it wasn't just like cuts of like quotes and stuff. We would like go through the subreddit pages and all that kind of thing. And that starred me and Sammy. The setup is pretty simple. It was this setup here. I had this chair here and we had Sammy at my side, and we had a camera set up on a tripod. I think it must have been either right next to the table or on it. It was a very awful camera. Wait and see if I can find it. Now, oh god, it's just fucking embarrassing. In my defense, when I started like, right, I'm gonna get a bit serious about like making content, I'm gonna buy equipment and stuff like that. When I was trying to do like Coleman stuff, and I was like, I want to get a camera. I was very, very, very ignorant to cameras back at that time, and I would have said this was been about 2020 or something like that. So I was very ignorant about cameras, not like I am now, because I've worked with them many times. But back in the day, like, I'd never touched a professional DSLR or a camcorder or anything like that, so I didn't really know what I was looking for. I wasn't really thinking along the lines of like Canon or Sony or Fujifilm or fucking like Blackmagic or anything like that. Not at all. I just wanted if it points and shoots, I'm set, man. And I bought this off of Amazon, and you'll probably recognize it if you know, have been around. It's this stupid, ridiculous, shitty knockoff, ridiculous digital video camera that is a hunk of plastic, and basically everything on it is a big, fat, stupid lie. Thanks for focusing, camera. Yeah, this thing is absolutely ridiculous. It's not good. It's a horrible piece of kit, and I regret buying it because it was like I set an amount of money basically, and I bought it because I was like completely ignorant. I was like, I don't need a big massive camera. You know, I could have got like a Sony A6000 series or something like that. They're usually quite good for like content that I'm making here. I was like, nope, I just want to spend a decent amount of money on a camera that can point and shoot, and I ended up buying this hunk of shit, which is a bit of a bummer because it's awful, it's lame, it films, it looks okay, but as you can see through the clips of X Shouldn't Be, that's what the camera looks like. It's grainy, it's awful looking, it just sucks, it's really bad. And I filmed a few things with that, specifically X Shouldn't Be. Anyway, long story short, we used this camera and we used an Amazon Basics tripod, which I bought as well. And the microphone that we used was actually pretty decent. I think it was like, I can't remember what it was called, it was like a DBZ gaming thing. It was kind of like a little I don't know if it was a condenser microphone, but it was a little microphone on a tiny tripod, and it was a USB thing. And I actually used that to record a lot of my very early Coleman videos as well, like my old audiobook series called Claudio, which we'll do a behind the process on that at some point. But it was pretty decent for what it was. It blew up sometimes if you got right up close to it, but it sounded pretty decent if you're right up against it. And it had pretty decent like noise cancellation and stuff on it. It was very surprising because it was meant to be like a gaming mic. But I used that for a little while before I upgraded to the the XLR microphone kind of thing. But we used that for X Shouldn't Be as well, which is a bit mental because I think I had a shotgun mic as well. The shotgun mic's pretty decent, but yeah, we kind of recorded the video on the camera and recorded the audio separately and then synced it up later on, which at that point I don't think I was very great at, but it worked alright for X Shouldn't Be. So yeah, you got the gist, kind of a Reddit review kind of format, camera setup and how we did it. It was pretty cool because the house had these lights that you could change the colours of, and whenever we did videos we would change it to the Soop Groop colours. So the primary colours were yellow and pink, so that was very aesthetically pleasing. But the first, we did, like I said, we did 2 videos and we wanted to do like a bit of a different variety of different stuff. We wanted to like do some things that are like pretty classically ripped on. The first video being about incels, people that are involuntarily celibate. Watch the video and find out it's a whole thing, it's mental. And then the second video was a bit more innocent, which was about simply the ocean and just about the deep sea and all that kind of stuff, how like 90% of the ocean's undiscovered and how Cthulhu's could very likely be down there and that kind of stuff. So they're all very long form kind of videos. I think the incel one was about 35 minutes and the ocean one was about 25 minutes as well. The first video, the incels one, that came out on the 14th of November 2020. It's about 2 years old now. And yeah, it was very, like I say, it's a very simple prospect. But man, the whole thing that I love about it is I broke my ass making those videos. Like, I was the one that edited both of them. For a lot of the different kind of videos we did, I liked editing it. I was like the one that really liked to do editing the most. I still like editing. I'm one of these maniac freaks who like to edit a lot. A lot of people hate, like in that process, hate it because it's monotonous and it goes on. But I like the building blocks of like putting the thing together, and in the editing process you kind of discover what the video is going to be like, mostly in terms of like its formatting and like how it's going to be broken up and all that kind of stuff. You kind of discover that along the way, because I mean, certainly you could talk about it in the process before editing the video, but like in Soop Groop we didn't really do that. It was more just like, here's the thing, let's do it, and then I was pretty much left my own device to just kind of piece it together, and then people go, that's good, and then we get uploaded. Sammy did the thumbnails for both of them. He was very, very good at thumbnail creation and that kind of stuff. That was the thing I struggled with for a long ass time, trying to make thumbnails for this channel. And I made some of the thumbnails on the Soop Groop channel, and not a lot of them are that good. It was just something I was never really that good at. But yeah, the basic build up to Egg Shouldn't Be would be I would go out to research subreddits that would be fitting for the video in question. So I would like hunt down incel subreddits. There are plenty of those, and subreddits relating to the sea, the deep sea, the ocean, thalassophobia, submechanophobia, all that kind of stuff. And there's a good few of those as well, some good content on them. And I would drop a big list of subreddits we can cover, see how many we could do, see what kind of things they have and what we can get out of them. And then the basic format for every Egg Shouldn't Be would be, we'd break down the subject, what is it, go on a bit of a tangent about it. It was like mostly kind of blah 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 funnies, funny back and forth, and then break it up in the different subreddits. And then there would just be a lot of different funny edits depending on what we're looking at, and some of them are fucking funny. I'll probably put like a compilation of like my favourite cutaways, moments, funny bits, edited bits and that kind of stuff to kind of give you an idea and a feel of what you can expect from these episodes of Egg Shouldn't Be.
Bro. How can we evolve from monkeys and monkeys are still here, bro?
Bro, it's just kind of... bro. If we evolve from monkeys, then how is there still monkeys?
It's a logical. BP did nothing wrong.
Who the fuck's BP?
The guys who fucked the ocean with the giant oil spill.
Yeah, they're okay, bro. Oh yeah, that one time in 2012.
They were just trying to nuke these boys.
Do we remember what Obama said about that?
What did he say?
He said, let me be clear.
the fact that 90% of the ocean is undiscovered and this disaster happened. Swings and roundabouts, probably a good thing. Put those bastards back in the ocean where they belong.
Chat check.
Is that the golden ratio? Are you trying to say you're the golden ratio?
Yeah.
Suffered and suffered and suffered again.
And then we'd have someone on the side who would be like the faceless third person in the series, and they would basically be the onboard research, if you will, because half the time, especially the incel one, there was like a lot of terminologies that you would not know anything about, and then they would get looked up on like probably Urban Dictionary or something. It's almost like edutainment, really, where you would put up, boom, this is the terminology and this is what it means, kind of thing. So it would be almost a bit of an education on what it is as well, you know, an edutainment kind of channel, you know what I'm saying? And that's kind of the whole gist of it. Shouldn't be a lot of just diving into subreddits and stuff and looking at cursed things. But yeah, I credit that video, that series, for like my really starting to get a feel of how editing works, because like I said, I learned how to edit on Adobe for Soop Groop, and a lot of the early stuff, like the first video I ever edited by myself was a Ghostbusters episode when we played the game. Can't remember what one, but that's like when I first started editing, and it is like rough, man. Like obviously I'm just kind of starting to learn how to like cut things and stuff, and like how the keyframing works. It's like very basic stuff, but yeah, first one that I ever edited and done myself. And the It Shouldn't Be series was like when I started to really get my chops for the editing process, and I'm very proud of it now. Obviously I think I could do it a lot better. You know, you can look back and go, that's not that great, but that's good, because that means you've gotten better as times went on. But yeah, It Shouldn't Be first series where I like got a feel and how my comedy works, I suppose, when I like did a lot of editing like that for funny comedic things. And the intro for It Shouldn't Be is a pretty funny one as well. I wanted to make something that kind of fit the theme of being horrifying and cursed. So it was a whole bunch of building blocks. I put together a bunch of different sound bites and different kind of things thrown in. It was like, took the Soop Groop background. I think I just got a screen capture of the opening to it, the spirally thing. I just made that black and white, and then I had like a Kraken rock kind of green screen where the Kraken, not the way I'm pronouncing it makes it sound like the big squid, cracking, like cracks, right, forming up, and then like the spiral and soup splat in the middle. I had the like Kraken sound effects, but I was like, I think, where did I get it from again? It was like, I think it was like the sound of a guy walking through snow, and then like some ambient, like, you know those big like floodlight things, big tube lights, the hum from them. And then I just got a big JPEG of like a big spooky X. And then there was like, I think there was this like transition thing, editing thing on Premiere, or something like the obsolete file or something. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like you transition from like an image inside it which slowly fades away as it fades in. I had like that in it. So like for the incel one, I had that classic tipping hat fat dude with a fedora, and I think it was a big eel with a human-like face as well. You'll see if you watch the videos, forming in the middle. And then I added that classic scream. I don't think it's the Wilhelm scream, it's a different one. It's the one that goes like that sound effect, if I feel like throwing it in. And then Shouldn't Be, which is like, I think it's like the sloppy font or something like that we used for a lot of the Egg Shouldn't Be ones. But yeah, that's pretty simply Egg Shouldn't Be, the process behind making that series. It's one of the ones we talked about for ages that we actually managed to get off the ground. I'm very happy that we did, because it's some of the best content is still on that channel. I still think it's really funny. And actually in the beginning of the video, we accidentally let slip of another series called Soop Looks, which is almost kind of the same kind of thing, but it was more like, more formal, kind of analysing weird dudes on YouTube and the internet, basically. Like the first video I wanted to do was on a YouTuber called Shoe Nice, which we were obsessed with for a while. If you don't know who Shoe Nice is, he's this fucking mental case who was basically an alcoholic. I think his most famous thing was like eating some SpongeBob stickers in an alley and also like slamming alcohol instantly. He's just a fucking mental case, really. And I think when we were making our channel trailer, we actually reached out to Shoe Nice and like want them to do a video for us where he like eats like cold soup or something like that. It's I think anything he used to do back in the day, but like he got back to us and it was like a weird back and forth. and it didn't happen basically. But here's the thing that I'll dive into as well. We made the trailer. This is fucking hilarious. I can't believe this happened this very day. There was a live stream of Shoe Nice that we went on and threw things into the chat, basically like bullying him for not making the video and like cheapening out on us. And I think this was, I don't know, I guess this was his way of like making up for it. I can't quite tell if he was like, he was basically making fun of us as well. I think he called us a lesbian book club. He did. I think he called Soop Groop a lesbian book club at some point, which is really fucking funny. But he did this thing Barry where he used to like shout out people and then eat the paper. He did that for us. Here's the clip. It's kind of edited. I don't think I don't have the original thing that we got, but we managed to get it just in time. We managed to like record it when he was doing it. But yeah, you see it in the channel intro of Shoe Nice eating us. Yeah, we're gonna do a video on him for Soop Looks, but that's one of the series that never came to be. But the thumbnail was really nice. I wish I still had it, but it doesn't exist anymore because that Adobe account's gone. But that was really cool, man. That would have been a really good series. But we did a bit of research on it as well, like watching like his life story and stuff. He does a lot of videos like that, and he's very because a lot of his channel, he just has like 50 million channels. Some disappear, some don't. But I'm digressing. That's just a little bit of a tidbit on another series. A behind the process on another series we may have done, but we didn't, about Shoe Nice, and it was called Soop Looks. Kind of in the same vein as Egg Shouldn't Be, but Egg Shouldn't Be is a bit more informal and just kind of like, you know, just riffing and looking at stuff online and laughing about it basically. Go and watch Egg Shouldn't Be. It's a really, really good series. Another one that I want to talk about is pretty interesting. It's a very nostalgic video for me actually. There's a series that I was going to start on this channel a long time ago. The video is still on the channel, but it's obviously unlisted. I'll throw it in here once I'm done talking about it, but I think I just threw it out and it was like kind of almost like a bloggy kind of video. It was a very, very short thing, but instead of like a blog or a vlog even, it was more just like a big collage of like me and my friends kicking about doing things. And it was all recorded by my friend Benji, who is part of the channel. And he's a very photographic man. He likes to just take pictures and record, and he just filmed throughout the day with our prior knowledge. But yeah, I threw together this video using all the footage that he took, and I think I called it Some Boys Go Somewhere.
Oh yeah, Callum. If you want to crash, there's tombs right here. The graves. The graves. Talk to me.
Be really happy. Get a fucking chiming console. That must be really nice.
Oh, that was an hour, by the way.
Yep.
This is quite intense.
So this is before this is well before the YouTube channel came about. I think. I can't remember. Yeah, it must have been just before the YouTube channel came about. I don't think it was when we started talking about it, but basically like I was talking about Some Boys, this Some Boys Go Somewhere video, and like this maybe we wanted to do like vloggy stuff on the channel, and we did call it Some Boys. It was kind of inspired by that initial video on the Coleman channel. And really, in terms of just like vlog stuff, only 2 videos came out of that, which was simply called Some Boys Go to Dundee, and it was basically a vlog with Sammy and Jeff going up to Dundee to the Jeffrey residence, and my other good friend Luby, who was kind of like the hidden Soop Group member. He was kind of there sometimes. He wasn't part of the channel, but he'd come on board for some videos, most of the live streams, Some Boys as well. I think he was yellow, made him the yellow Soop man. But yeah, that was just like a vloggy thing. But this was another one which was originally lost footage that we didn't think was going to get used, that I eventually went fuck it and kind of made a video out of it. And it's simply called, and this is basically wholly my thing as well, Some Boys and the Escape from Monkey Forest. Yes, Some Boys and the Escape from Monkey Forest. That was the one thumbnail that I'm quite happy with. I made the thumbnail as well. Big collage of all of us out there in the forest, Some Boys Monkey Adventure, blah blah blah. And that was me kind of like, let's try and make Some Boys a thing. Basically one day we just went on an excursion, the 4 of us, out into farmlands in the forest and stuff. It which you're not really supposed to do, but in Scotland we have right to roam. You can basically, you have the right to go wherever you want, essentially, but some people don't like that. And yeah, basically I was like, while I was out there, I was like, you know, we were wanting to do this thing where you can like blog, film stuff, and I was like, let's just try and do it. So I was filming pretty much most of the day. I think it was all my kind of stuff that I shot. I was on an older phone than the one I've got now. This is still an ancient phone. I don't keep up with phone technology because I don't care enough. It's like an iPhone 8. But I used to have an iPhone SE. The first iPhone SE, which is like the body of an iPhone 5, if the internals of an iPhone 6 or something like that. So already it was a very old phone. The camera was not that great. And also the audio on it was fucked as well. So sometimes the audio would become muffled. But yeah, I don't think I knew that at the time. I was like, I'm going to film stuff anyway, and then, you know, I'll upload back at the footage, and some of it's muffled and some of it's not. So we couldn't use it as just a straight Some Boys kind of thing. So we didn't think we were going to make it, basically. And then I kind of built a narrative throughout the video. There's like a lot of like, what's the game? Pikmin. There's a lot of Pikmin music and stuff like that. Forest of Hope. I put a narration through it in the style of David Attenborough. It was kind of like, I turned it into almost a documentary about some boys going into the forest, and because of their antics they slowly become like degenerate into like monkey men, because there's a part of the brook where like we're fake fighting, anime fighting and stuff like that, becoming monkey people, and then we escape or try to escape, and then we eventually die, get killed by cows. And yeah, that's basically the whole thing. It was all footage taken on my phone that was like useless, but I was like, I'm going to try and make a use out of it. And it done alright. It was like 121 views or something like that, which, you know, is not massive numbers, but for Soop Groop we were quite happy with it. That video came out on the 18th of February 2021, so it will actually be very soon. I'll be 2 years old very, very soon actually, which is, again, fucking Christ, freaky stuff. But, you know, it was fun to make. It was pretty much a wholly made thing by me, since I filmed it and edited it and all that kind of stuff, and made the thumbnail and all that kind of shit. But there was a few of us, you know, we had fun basically going about in the forest and trying to film some stuff as well. But yeah, like obviously we're like, when I was filming, we're like excited, yeah, let's try and make a vloggy Some Boys kind of adventure. Too bad I was on my phone, because my phone was useless at that point in time. If I was ever to upgrade to a better phone, I would only want it for the camera so I can do stuff like that. But yeah, at the time my phone was just awful and it wasn't really good for that kind of stuff. But we made something out of it. Managed to salvage some footage and make a little vloggy documentary type thing. Some Boys in the Escape from Monkey Forest was actually another of one of the only videos where we actually got hit by music copyright as well, like unlisted blocked video because of music. And this one was really weird. We did a few videos. There was a series we did called The Implication Hour, which we like analysed media, and most of them were like Marvel, MCU kind of stuff. And one of the videos we did, which was talking about WandaVision when that was just on, it got blocked by Disney because of the footage, because of the clips used. And I was like, I managed to appeal it, basically saying it's transformative content. It's been heavily edited, so it does nowhere near represent what was in it. And I managed to get unblocked, which is really lit. So I got too big on my boots for this one, because the video was out for a couple of months and then suddenly got blocked. I think it was Sony. No, it was Sony or Sega or something like that blocked it because of some music that we used near the end, and it was music from Earthbound. I think it was the music where you're walking through the spooky caves before you get to the final boss, before you fight Gygus, and it got blocked because of that, which was very weird. Why is Sony blocking that if it's a Nintendo game? You know what I mean? So I tried to appeal it, didn't work, had to replace the music, and it makes the video, well, it's still fine, like it still fits perfectly, but it's like, man, that I edited the video to pace with the music as well, and that whole pacing's kind of gone because this music is just completely different, and kind of ruins the vibe near the end. That sucked, but you know, I appealed it and they didn't care, and they're basically like, change the music in this bit or it stays blocked. So I was like, had to change the music, had to pick one of their fucking shitty stock songs that they had already, and that's the story with that. The blocking of Some Boys in the Escape from Monkey Forest, I don't know why it happened months after. Maybe it's because it hit a certain view count. They're like, people are watching this, block it, even though we weren't making any money off it. It's very strange. I don't understand to this very day, but that happened. That's the process behind Some Boys and Escape from Monkey Forest. The Some Boys series, the origins of Some Boys, all that kind of stuff. Give it a watch if you want. It's pretty silly and ridiculous. And the Escape from Go to Dundee is somebody as well. So a two-parter, basically the same thing happening. And yeah, that's a video that we did. And I guess finally another one I'd like to talk about is the podcast that we did, Soop Speak, which was, I think, the most consistent piece of content we ever did. We nailed it down to every Sunday at one point, and then that kind of fell off. But that was the content. It was like keeping us afloat where we were trying to make things, or like we're falling off a little bit or whatever. Soop Speak was a thing that we did. And yeah, like, what can we get from the process being a podcast? You wouldn't think there'd be a lot, but there was a whole thing that went on in terms of deciding what we wanted to do with it. Because that was like one of the initial ideas we had when it came to making the channel. It was like, right, we didn't want to just do Let's Plays, obviously. We wanted to do like podcasting, live streaming, you know, vloggy kind of things like that, skits, you know. And the podcast is always one that we wanted to do for a long time. I think at this point in time, everyone's trying to do a fucking podcast. Everyone is doing a podcast. We were one of them, baby. And Soop Speak was the podcast. It was pretty good. I have lots of fun memories because it's just like talking and banting with some friends. And it was fun, bro. Soop Speak was great. But at the beginning, there was a lot of different things that we tried to do with the podcast that didn't quite land. I think in total we did either 30 episodes of Soop Speak, but there's actually another playlist of podcasts that are simply called the Lost Episodes. So in total we did 39 podcasts. We did 9 of these lost episodes, and then we did 30 of this is the series that we're doing kind of thing of the podcasts. And when we started talking about doing Soop Speak, we wanted to do not on, like, you know, on camera, kind of like through Discord or whatever, which it ended up being in the end, but there was a reason for that which we'll get to. We wanted to do on camera, in a group, in a room, talking about things. Basically how it went was this. Like I said, we had the Canon camera. I think it may have been a 600D, I think, DSLR kind of thing. And we had a microphone quite like this. It wasn't this one. I think it wasn't a Behringer. It was what was the brand again, man? It was an Amazon kind of mic. It was a Zamu fucking whatchamacallit thing. And the power supply was this fucking awful piece of shit. Tiny, what was the brand of that one? I feel like I would have remembered that, but I don't think I do. It'll probably come to me after filming this, but if I find it, I'll put it in post. We had this little XLR power supply thing. You couldn't call it an audio interface because there wasn't like any gain switches or anything. It was just an XLR plug-in and it powers the mic. We used that. So in the house, we had these 2 long convertible red cheap ass couches, leather couches that could like turn into, well, technically it's a futon and it would turn into a bed essentially. We had these 2 couches and we had this little coffee table. So the concept was we bunched up the 2 couches into like a triangle formation and we set up the mic and all that kind of stuff and brought the PC into the room, set up on the table, and the boys would gather around this coffee table and this mic. I think the decision was to have like 4 people at a time, which kind of became the max number later on in the Soop Speak as well. I don't know if I went over that number. I'll have to check. Oh god, I just remembered what these videos are like. Luckily for me, there's only one available of the original Soop Speak format. Unluckily for me, I'm fucking in it. It was me, Sammy, Jeff and Reezy. And you know, it was quite cute. We tried to have like little references to all the different skits we did. We had the little can, the little tin from the Nourishment skit on it. We had our old mascot, Soupman Jones, which was a Mr. Blobby doll that I had that we mutilated and turned into something else. You'd think it was like, you know, here's the video and it's just on the screen and we're talking and stuff. But no, it isn't at all. We decided to take the video of the podcast, which was like record. I think eventually we stopped using the XLR. I don't know why. Maybe it stopped working. I have no idea. But instead we got the audio from the camera, which is the worst thing you can do. It wasn't even a shotgun mic. It was just the camera audio. We put the fucking video in this box, shrinked it down, added some aesthetic background. I think in the one that we used was, I think it was just gameplay from Pac-Man. We had different music playing in the background. I didn't know how to audio mix at all, so the music is far too loud. I think that was probably just the case for a lot of the videos we did. And then we had the names in the corner and stuff like that. And we even had the name of the song playing at the bottom, Vibe of the Day. Like, fucking why, man? I just don't... We did try something. We tried to make a cool format, and it still would be a cool format. I like the idea of doing the podcast in a room with people. You know, that's like one of my favourite formats, to watch the people doing the podcast. Adds an extra dimension of interaction to it. But, you know, we just did not have the means to do it. We may have had later on, but we never attempted it because we got stuck to the one format, which I'll tell you why we did that after a while. But and then obviously another problem was just the acoustics are fucking awful. It was a very echoey room. You could barely hear what we're saying half the time. And this video, the only podcast of the original format that I can speak of that is still extant on the channel. At the very beginning, my friend Jeff has this metal chili, I think it's called chili water bottle, which he still has this fucking day. He does not leave his side. As soon as the podcast opens, he drops onto the floor and it's this big clank that echoes for the entire room, and that kind of sets the standard for what to expect from the original Soop Speak podcast.
Oh Lord. Shit!
Alright, I've logged into the Soop Groop channel for the first time in a million years, and yeah, we had at least 5 people at one point in time. But yeah, we tried something. It was a cool, interesting format. I think it was a bit awkward for us as well, because we've never done anything like that on a camera before. You know, trying to just speak about things. So yeah, it was a bit hard to get warmed up at that point in time. But then, I think this is at the point in time where COVID just started happening and social distancing started happening. And I think that's kind of where we started doing the podcasts over Discord, where it's like everyone's in a box and we're just kind of talking like that. And, you know, eventually that's kind of the format that stuck, and we stopped doing the demo format, which is a shame because, you know, it could have worked. It could have worked. It was just like, yeah, choices that just didn't really work, really. But we tried something with that one. But alas, it was not simply meant to be. X shouldn't be Soop Speak. But I wanted to throw that one out there because it's an interesting creative process, and like trying to do something for a podcast and then doing something a bit different because things weren't working, which is how it all works, man. Something doesn't work, try something else, and then if it works, do it. Stick with it. Type beat. But yeah, it's very simply a little throwaway discussion behind the scenes, the process making of some Soop Groop formatted content. Egg Shouldn't Be, Some Boys, and the Soop Speak podcast. I'm going to go and watch some of the old podcasts right now and see how it makes me feel inside, because golly gee, man, oh boy. Like I say, you can only access one, but all the Egg Shouldn't Be's are still there. Some Boys is still there as well, and you saw the one from the old Coleman content as well. But yes, that's some of the formatted content things that we did on Soop Groop, my old YouTube channel, back in the goddamn day. The YouTube channel was created on the 8th of June 2019, and the description simply reads, "We are a variety channel made up of some good buds making frequent content of all kinds. We got gaming, podcasts, streams, skits and sketches, and basically just whatever we can think of. We're lit. Peep the content." And it certainly was. Oh man, there were some big highlights in my life, man, I must say. There were some times, and we were some idealistic young men who were really trying to do some shit, and we did it, you know what I mean? I get really nostalgic for it because it was a time, man, it was a time, you know. I try not to miss things too much. I don't really try to miss anything because, like, I don't know, it's like the past is done. Kind of move on from it when it happens. But I guess what I mean to say is, like, there's a place in my heart where a little Soop Splat still resides. A little blue Soop Splat still resides, because it was the formation of something, and it set a course for me, certainly, into a broader concept of what I want to do. Not for like well, for the club, for the channel certainly, in terms of the kind of content I want to do and getting better at it, but just in terms of what I was wanting, which is just like getting together with a like-minded group of dudes and making stuff, and that's what Soop Groop was. And it was good. It was good. I'm glad the channel's still there. It's a museum of the past, really, is what it is now. And you know, check it out, man. I would still say there's some videos that are really good, some that are old as fuck and haven't aged as well. But you know, they're out there, so give them a look, man. The channel still exists. I'm still on it. The dudes are still on it. Have a little looky, man. See what you think of my YouTubing past. And that is the conclusion for this installment of Behind the Process. Thank you all very much for watching. More content to come very soon, my friends. Soup.